What up, you guys? How's that falling back an hour helping everybody out? It probably isn't. I mean, it is. You get like an hour of sleep, kind of. You feel like you've gotten one. Anyway. Alright, I want to try something new with you guys. Please forgive the glare of my tablet in these glasses. But I'm trying to kind of turn it somewhere because I need it for the light. Obviously, it's very dim in here. Alright, so I want to try something new with you guys. I want to introduce, like I said in my last video, I want to start introducing movies to you guys that clearly have a narc in them. A movie that you probably have already watched, I'm sure, but it's different when you rewatch things on television and stuff, because after you have become, let me just take them off, I mean, whatever. After you've become a survivor of narcissistic abuse, you definitely have no choice but to see things very differently. So, I noticed that in cinema, right? Like, we've been seeing a narcissist in every single Disney movie since the beginning of time. This movie, I wanted to talk about how the narc is a body collector. Not like Jeepers Creepers, which I've used that before. They're body collectors in a different way as well. Close, but not quite like Jeepers Creepers. There is a movie, and I'm going to try to break this down to where the movie and what I'm saying actually makes sense together. So there's a movie called Cabin by the Lake that my ex-narc introduced me to, right? It has the guy from the Breakfast Club in it that was like the punk rocker dude or whatever the fuck, right? So, anyway, I suggest you watch it. It's a really good movie. But this guy selects at random, okay, like women that he kind of has stalked, you know? Like, he stalks these women, he selects them at random, and eventually kidnaps them, takes them to the same spot, and does the same thing. But what's gross is he dresses them the way he wants them to dress. He doesn't rape them or anything, so thank God, right? But either way, so he puts them in clothes he wants them to wear. He makes them the food that he wants them to eat, and he keeps them in this room where he like surveys them, you know, through like a double-sided mirror. And then when he feels like it's time, for whatever reason, he'll take them out on a boat, dressed in whatever it is that he had them wear. And he ties a weight to their feet and ankles, and he pushes them over the boat, right? And they sink down, but they stay there. And every day, like his daily routine, like every day you wake up and you drink a cup of coffee or something, well, every day he who I obviously have deemed the narcissist in this movie, he wakes up every day and puts on scuba gear, and he goes down to where he drowned these victims, because he likes to drown them in the same spot, by the way. How many times has the narc fucking got new supply in the same area that you're in? How many times has the narcissist made sure it was very close by that restaurant that he took the new supply to, as in right around the corner from your home, you know, in the same direction that you drive from work in? They like to keep their victims close to each other. Unless they're like my dad, who obviously like had a bitch in Virginia and he lived in North Carolina, right? And had some neighbors there too. But for the most part, he himself also had supplies that were like in the same neighborhood or close, like neighboring neighborhoods. How many times has that happened? Back to the movie. So this dude drowns his victims in the same space, right? This is how narky this fucker is, though. He's a writer, right? And he writes a book called Garden of Flesh. How sick is that, right? And really, everyone thinks these books are really great, But the book really are just accounts of what he actually just did to someone, and he uses it to profit. Like, he writes about these murders and uses it to profit. How is that not narky? Sorry, that sounded like a tongue twister. No. Anyway, yeah, so he's like drowning these women. And what he does is he takes scuba gear and he goes down under into this lake until he reaches that, that point that he drowned them all in. And he like looks at them and kind of like fixes their hair so that to him, underwater, this dead girl's hair looks better when he just tilts it a little bit to the side. Or he'll add like a scarf to one of them. Or a pair of shades to one of them. Like he's still tending to this dead-ass garden of broken women that he murdered. Isn't that very similar to being put on the shelf by a narcissist? Isn't that very similar to where they shelve people so that they can go back and play with their toys later? Toys being people and their hearts and things like that, right? There was no difference to me from him swimming down there every day, like how the narc checks on it daily. Daily he has to go through his toy box, so to speak. I wonder what this toy's doing today. Oh, let me make sure I say and do this to make them change their parents. Or let me say or do this to make them do this for me. Or let me... It was very similar to me when he swam down there to reorganize whatever the dead bodies of the women he drowned look like. It sounds like a wild movie. It is. You should watch it. If you have seen it, comment. Let me know what you thought about it. And didn't it remind you of a narcissist? They have, to me, like that guy's book title, a garden of flesh. That they actually tend to in some sick-ass way. They tend to it. They might tend to it once a week or so while they're rotating or finding new victims or something like that, but they definitely tend to their garden of flesh. So this movie that we're talking about, that I hope that you guys get a chance to watch, it's probably on Netflix or something. I don't watch TV, but so I would have to like rent that. But anyway, yes, go watch Cabin by the Lake and let me know what you think. I'm gonna try to start this new like narc movie thing with you guys. But the narc definitely... And here's another one real quick, because I gotta go. You wonder to yourself at some point, because you would love to believe that the narc doesn't even understand what they're doing. You would love to believe, as a decent human being, that they must be making a mistake, that they don't know, that they're hurting people like this. But the sad thing is, they do know. And they like it. And they get off on it. Do you know what I'm saying? Your pain is gasoline for their vehicle of life. Period. And they enjoy it. They suck that shit up. Where your pain is toxic to you, it is food and fuel for the narc. Right? Just like you shouldn't huff gas and go, you'd pass out or some shit, or get ridiculously high in some strange way. The narc is the car that gasoline goes into. That gasoline being your pain, your suffering, bad emotions, things like that. So do they know what they're doing? Yes. Back to the movie. There is a part in that movie where he abducts what I want to say is his last victim, kind of, right? And he pulls her, first of all, he hits her car on purpose, or makes her hit his car by stopping short. And when she gets out, of course, he throws her in this van. But he had already set the van up for her, along with other, victims, right? So inside the van had, like, caution tape around it, but it didn't say caution. He literally painted on the tape the words, "I'm the guy your parents warned you about." Can you imagine seeing or hearing some shit like that when you are abducted? Right? Well, how does it feel when you were technically emotionally abducted, spiritually to some degree abducted, by a predator, that narc, and thrown into a theoretical van that you thought was going to be your love life, a good life with someone that you thought that you knew and liked, right? And really what was inside of that van was that same sign. I'm the guy that your parents warned you about, right? And all of a sudden you find yourself in this situation, fighting for your life, trying not to drown. Only in the movie, it's literally drowning, and in situations like narcissistic abuse, it's slower than drowning. People that drown die way quicker than you ever could when you slowly are getting annihilated by the narcissist, breaking you down mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all that stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to share that movie with you guys, and we'll start talking about more movies, y'all. You'll be surprised how many movies hit home when you see them shits again. Alright, love y'all. Bye.